Good day everyone, welcome. It's another episode of Pominos. We're on Friday. I hope you're having a wonderful Friday, people. And what I want to start bringing into on a Friday is we preview the games and rah-de-rah of what's gone on the week before and have a look at how the season's going to pan out. And I thought everyone's jumping on the bandwagon, and I froth a good bandwagon, I do. Let's jump on the bandwagon of looking at the season returning. So, I mean, first of all, I'm sure you're all like me. You know, you've spent hours upon hours locked inside, you know, your pretty little crystal houses, and you've missed sport. I mean, the NRL returned yesterday. It's just not quite footy, though, is it? And it's back. We've got something to look forward to. If you're a Carlton fan like me, you're going to look forward to hearing they're only young, lay off them. And yeah, we're coming and, season's been a chaos. The team, if it was a normal season, would have won. But if you're not a Carlton fan, you're probably going to enjoy this season. If you are a Carlton fan and you're not one of them people, yeah, enjoy the long, hard road. But let's have a look at it. I mean, obviously Thursday night is super, super exciting. And we've got Collingwood Richmond. And that is probably, you know, the game of the round already. You know, on paper, it's two top 8 sides really going at it. Styles make fights, as they say. And both of these sides really contrast each other well. I think it is a really worthy Thursday night fixture. And it's probably where I'd go as well if I was going to kickstart the season again. It's a real good impetus for people watching at TV. Then we've got Geelong Hawthorn. Kind of surprised Geelong Hawthorn was the Friday game, but I mean, it's a good game. I mean, Geelong, obviously, you know, they've got a very passionate fan base. They play a brand of football that's not everyone's cup of tea, but it is up there. And Hawthorn, you know, they're going to be around the 8. You know, Clarkson can somehow get that last iota of talent out of his players, and it is super. He's a super coach. There's no getting away from it. Brisbane, Freo, Carlton, Melbourne, Port, Adelaide, and Gold Coast, West Coast make up the Saturday fixtures. I mean, obviously, I will be at 2:10 watching Carlton versus Melbourne, hoping and praying. I mean, for me, when you look at that game, it's a good game. It's a game that's two teams that are very heavily in a transitional period in their time. Carlton obviously had the 25-year rebuild, and Melbourne obviously gone through a little micro rebuild at the moment as they look to get the outside pace. Port versus Adelaide. I mean, the Adelaide derby is always a good one, isn't it? For me, I enjoy watching that. I mean, Gold Coast, West Coast, how that's got a twilight fixture, an evening fixture is beyond me. Gill is having a complete bubble there. However, I mean, I don't like the fixtures. I mean, Brisbane versus Freo probably would be worth having a watch, but obviously they've stuck that right on a Carlton time, so I won't be watching that. Then we've got Sydney versus Essendon. We've got GWS versus North. We've got St Kilda versus the Doggies. I mean, I always enjoy watching Essendon games for obvious reasons because I'll be a Sydney fan for the day. GWS versus North, I mean, that's quite an entertaining fixture. I mean, I'm kind of torn between that and the St Kilda Doggies because obviously they do just slightly entwine. But I mean, yeah, it's a good first start and it's great to have footy back. I mean, I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say that when football's not on, you kind of are just twiddling your thumbs. I mean, I count them like 4 months of the season where there isn't anything on. And to have footy back is such a big part of all of our lives. And I think even though we joke about it and stuff, the wonderful thing about football is that it does unite us. It does give us something, A, to talk about. It gives us, B, something to, you know, argue about. I mean, that is something as well. Human nature. People forget that about us, that we do love an argument. And one thing I find, the majority of AFL fans, it is banter. It's good banter. And that's what it is. It's about keeping, you know, just having a bit of a banter about Essendon doing drugs, Carlton being gash, you know, Richmond getting home games. All this stuff is banter. It's not worth taking seriously. I really do hope your teams, though, go well. I mean, as for me, let's talk a little bit about my Blue Boys. It's a tough one being a Carlton fan at the minute, and I've gone through it quite a lot with Rangers, and to a lesser extent when you look at Manchester United posts. When you have a team that is successful and then success is taken, what happens is fans lose their minds, and it is a simple case in point. And to more so when the success doesn't happen on the field, the media department starts to lose their mind. And you can see it happening at Carlton quite badly at the moment. It's really apparent. You look at the forums, I mean, let's be honest, they've spent 2 months arguing about Kane Corn saying Jesaulenko's mark's not good enough. And I've seen more fight from the Carlton fans than when we got absolutely decimated by GWS a couple of years back. And when we put on that absolute aberration of 20-odd tackles in the first game against Richmond. But yeah, evidently 1970s, and Mark then, let's fight the fires, fly the fags. But when we go out and play, we're lucky to fly freaking bubbles because we play like bubbles. But I mean, there it is. I mean, there's my expectations this season. This season, I think, is really, for me, if you're a Carlton fan and you're watching this, I think it's not just adjusting on the field, it's adjusting as a fan base. We worry too much about inconsequential stuff. We're not their parents. We don't have to protect the players. At the end of the day, our job is to pay our money as fans, and we see results. And if we don't see results, we see improvement. And if it's not there, it's our duty to question it. So for me, if you're one of them fans that go, don't pick on a player, you're part of the problem, because improving is getting feedback. And if it's not constructive, if it's name calling, call it out. But I mean, let's be honest, you've got to call a spade at the time. And I reckon at the moment, it's no surprise that there's a good 15 players out of contract to Carlton Football Club, because I think there's about 15 players that probably should question if they're AFL footballers at times. And it's going to be an interesting season, because Melbourne, for me, is a very good start for Carlton Football Club. I'm super excited about that start. It's a team that's in a very similar boat as us. On its day, it can be the 8 if everyone plays to their highest calibre. But if they don't, you do a Melbourne last year. And for me, I think it's very, very important. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how the season pans out, because you can already see the writing on the wall. We've had how many soft tissue injuries in the last week? We've had, Budward, who is, usual, I've seen grass and I've pulled a hammy. We've had Trelaw, obviously we're hearing that that's going to be an extended timeout. And also Diego Abera. So if you're like me and all 3 of them were in your keeper draft team, at the moment you're like, great, round of 3, let's just freaking draw a line under the season. But no, I'm super glad to have Footy back. And I think it's going to be a really good season. I know there's a lot of talk about, these 16-minute quarters and is it real footy? But to me, I think there's another problem that this season presents for the players. And I think the season presents a problem for the players in the terms of it is unknown. It's going to benefit teams like Essendon who play a real hell for leather type football. It's going to help younger teams, I think, because obviously there is not as long, intense quarters. And we know that a lot of the young teams, it is a statistical fact, do flux. And I think it poses a problem in the terms of indecision. This season right now should be well on its way, and the players haven't. So I don't think this lessens the season. I kind of don't think it makes it more of a flag, but I think it makes it equally as hard. It's presented new challenges, and teams that adapt genuinely win flags. So this is really key to adaptability, and I'm super glad to have it back. As for this cardboard cutout nonsense, I'm not a big fan of it. I mean, for me, I thought the way to go is if you go to a Collingwood home game, they have a wonderful bit when they do kick a goal and you hear the lightning flash and they have the fans. So you've got your Centrelink 101 pop up on screen and they're like, yeah, gar pies and stuff like that. Sorry about that horrific Australian accent, by the way. But yeah, they've got that wonderful images of them. And I was like, why doesn't the clubs ask people? Everyone's got a webcam. Every Tom, Dick and Harry is doing one of these. And send pictures, send videos in for when they score. You could play that round. How cool would that be? Because, I mean, let's be honest as well. Everyone can sing AFL songs because it is just the team name. And so, I mean, for me, cardboard cutout fans ain't it. Don't go the full, Bundesliga and the K-League and get sex dolls in. But, I mean, there must be a happy medium. Cardboard cutouts. And who are the cardboard cutouts? That's what I want to know. Who put your hands up for that? If you're watching this show, question yourself that you've got a cardboard cutout yourself. Question it. Big style. Madness. But, I mean, that being said, the soft tissue injuries, they're going to go on. The debate of if you deserve to win a flag is going to go on this year. And it's going to be one of them things, isn't it? It's going to be something that you're going to have to bear with. We just know in 10 years' time, say if someone like Essendon or GWS win the flag this year, you're going to be down the pub with your mates, and your mates are going to be like, oh yeah, when was the last time you won a flag? And you're going to reply, oh yeah, you won the COVID flag, where it doesn't even count. We played 3 quarters and have 900 freaking players on the bench. But I mean, it still counts for me personally, and don't hold me to account on this, because I probably will do if it is a team that I don't like Essendon or Richmond or something. I'm not going to say it doesn't count. It's going to be an interesting one, though. But, I mean, as always, we've got the soft tissue injuries, and that is a worry for teams. And to be honest, it's not something that I personally worry about. I mean, these are meant to be elite-level professional sports clubs, and they should be on top of this. If the soccer in the Bundesliga is, the EPL returns in 2 weeks as well, and you would say both of these teams, both of these competitions are bigger business enterprises than the AFL. These players are huge commodities. These are valuable assets, a lot more valuable than an AFL player. And it's going to be huge to see how they deal with it. But I mean, for me, I think they'll be well on top of it. It's not rocket science. It's quite simple stuff. And I think the players will be fit. I mean, looking at the images of like Richmond, Geelong and stuff, these players won't have had the contact experience, but they've looked like they've kept themselves very physically primed. And you look at a lot of the players, particularly the West Coast footage, they've come back a lot leaner, they've come back a lot stronger. You see it. And to be honest, this is going to be a good test, I think, of where lists are. And I think if you start bringing out excuses like, oh, the players are young and stuff, that's not true. They're not committed. Because there's a lot of sportsmen up and down the world who have actually improved aerobic performance, have improved their strength because they're committed. So for me, I mean, it's going to be an exciting season. There's going to be a lot of ifs. But I mean, all in all, I'm super amped to have it back. I'm super amped to interact with you guys. I'm super amped to get back on the forums and see people, ride the highs, ride the lows. And it's going to be super excited. I'm super excited as well that every Friday we are going to do a real good analytic review. We're going to do a big preview of the games. I'm going to have a bit of fun tipping. Also, people have been asking about the North Melbourne career mode. Unfortunately, due to an update, it has totally corrupted the file. So there will be a new one going up on Monday. As always, guys, please smash the like button, and I hope to see you soon. Stay safe. Have a great weekend. Pom out.